Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a read for you today. I decided to do the read in a slightly different way today. It's the same format read, but instead of looking at outcomes for a specific divine masculine or divine feminine or union, I decided since we're not looking at outcomes, what is it that God, Source, Creator, Love wants us to know today? So this message is actually geared toward my viewers, not necessarily toward the divine feminine or the divine masculine, but if the read comes up that way, that's what I will read. So this information isn't pointed toward anyone, and it's also more generalized as to the fact that both the masculine and feminine are both masculine and feminine, and so this applies to each person, okay? So bear with me, it's still going to be very similar. It depends on what energies are coming up and the messages that I am getting relayed, and there's definitely some cool messages from Jesus, God, Creator, Love, however you want to look at the universe. These are the messages that came through for you. It is April 26, 2019. The 26 is the Page of Wands. And the day adds up to 42, which is the Two of Cups. So the 26 is an 8, and 8 of course is of inner and outer strength. It's of the infinity, of staying at 0 point, being balanced, and also manifesting your dreams. The 42-6 is of love, family, and community, but it's also the Two of Cups on one-on-one love. So very beautiful and childish energy, like definitely date-like energy today with the Two of Cups and the Page of Wands, because that's definitely like a teenager who's inspired, you know, who may want to ask someone out for a date. So getting right into the read, and I'm going to call this the God's Love read, okay, which is funny because it comes out as GL, which would be like God and Lucifer, which is the shadow and the light. So perfect. So as we start the read, it was 9:30, 31, 32 as I was arranging the final cards. So 30, of course, is of the Four of Wands, 31 the Five of Wands, and 32 the Six of Wands, and all were very pertinent as far as the read went today. So 30 is the Four of Wands of the Union card, and then the Five of Wands is very much about expansion, but it can be about conflict, it can be about competition in sports, but it could just be about expansion. And then we have the 32 of the Six of Wands, which is the journeyman, which is very representative of us on our journey. So as we start this read, the major arcana here, and I'm doing it just the same way, so I have a card before the read and a card after the read that are included in the information. So the card before the read was Reason, or the Emperor. The major arcana were Abundance, which is the Empress, the Star, Starseed, which is the Fool, and then Shadow, which is the Devil. So this was very perfect here, because the star is the light and the shadow is the shadow, and then we have the starseed of the brand new beginning, a fresh start, a leap of faith, and then we have the Emperor and the Empress. Okay, so very much about the dynamic between the twins, but also in control. So as we go into the read, the message was all about patience, leadership, and love partnership. Because don't forget, as twins, you always work in tandem. It's never just you, okay? And you're taking leadership together, even if you're not physically together at the moment, because the divine feminine in both of you leads the way in the 5D, and the divine masculine leads the way in the 3D. And some of you may be more masculine or more feminine. Some of you may be more equal on both. So it just depends on your specific dynamic together. The numbers that came up here were 101. So 101 Dalmatians comes up here. So white with some black spots, it's a little shadow to clear. And then the number 8, which of course is the infinity and staying at 0 point, and 109. The number 1 of the Magician, 34, which is the 8 of Wands, 78, which is the 10 of Pentacles, the ultimate dream family, and then 88, which is the two twins, the masculine and the feminine, standing side by side, both integrated into their balanced 0 point. Okay, they're centered, standing side by side. Then 10 comes up, which is a high vibration, and the Wheel of Fortune. And then 1132 came up, which is Justice, and again, the Journeyman, which is traditionally good news, but it also means success and getting attention and leading the way. So the 101 also is coming up here for me to explain that it's the two magicians, and I write Magi now as the abbreviation for magician, but the two Magi with the third energy of the zero, the source energy between them. And then the number 8, which is you integrated within yourself, the masculine and feminine. And then the 109, which actually equals 10 because it adds up to 10, but it's just that vibration. So instead of 101 of the masculine and feminine and their third energy, it's you with the collective and the third energy when you're on your own, equaling the 10 of the high vibration, the one Magi and the collective consciousness in your high vibration. And then the 88 comes up again, okay? Standing side by side always in a partnership to help lead the way. The message here about patience, leadership, and love partnership was regarding your high vibration destiny. To ace today, the challenge is the Queen of Pentacles today, because for all of you, not just the feminine, but the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine, need to ace the groundedness of the Queen of Pentacles, the Sophia at 0 point of the Christos that you are. So the Christos Sophia, today you need to work on your feminine grounding. Also, your retina was coming up. It's the mark of the Divine Feminine cure. So don't forget, and I brought this up before, that your retina has codes in it, especially for healing. And I can confirm this because when I was doing my Reiki Master years ago, and we were practicing on each other during one of the sessions, literally the person that I was working on had verbalized how much she had gotten from where I was focusing with my eyes as opposed to my hands. So don't hold back on using your eyes. They're very powerful. The energy coming from your eyes, not only your pupils, direct energy, but there's codes in your retina, okay? But also, in addition to the retina, I was getting retinae. So retinae, for, again, mark of Divine Feminine cure. So for Divine Feminine marks on your face, retinae was also coming up as a cure. Patience, leadership, love partnership. So as we get into the read here, and we did have 8 of Wands of that passionate exchange, expressing your feelings, and the arrows of love comes up with the 10 of Pentacles. It's the last card of the deck. It's the ultimate fantasy family, everything you could ever wish for. Injustice on your journey. This is the message for you. So as lightning strikes with reason behind it, the Divine Masculine hides due to heartbreak and separation from self. And I do want to bring one personal thing up. I haven't been going into my inner child because at one point in the past couple months, my inner child stopped coming up because your inner child was going away because you're maturing and coming into your power, okay? But it's felt a little knocked back the past few weeks. And so I went in again today to see what my little Divine Feminine was doing and whether she would show up. And she did, and she was in a dark, shadowy place in the center. So I usually see them, they each have their own corners on either side. So the Divine Feminine has her bed over here, and the little Divine Masculine has his bed over here. And when they want to come together, they have beds in the middle that they can play on, depending on what age they're coming up as. But she definitely came up as the little girl in the shadow and kind of just in the middle. She was in the middle sitting on the bed, but she was alone in the shadows. There was no light there. So I asked her, where's my twin? And she looked over to his side, and he was hiding under the bed again. So the masculine in fear. So I went as an adult to me, as a mother energy as well, and brought her over with me to help him. So I told her to go under the bed with him to make him feel better, so he wouldn't feel, and he was literally like paralyzed under the bed in such fear and anxiety. So she had to go under there and cuddle with him, and then we brought him out, and I picked him up and put him on the bed, and then I just lay there with him in my arms, and she also with me lay with him as well. So giving him lots of love, just surrounding him with love so he would come out of this feeling of being paralyzed of anxiety. So you might want to check in with yourself and see where things are going. So, like I said, lightning strikes with reason behind it. The divine masculine hides due to heartbreak. And this was, I did what I did before I even started the read. So this was coming up specifically from the read, apart from what I'd gotten from my going within, my meditation. So they're hiding due to heartbreak and separation from self. Epiphanies may hurt them until he learns to connect with his higher self more readily. The Leo, or ego, without affection, becomes enemy to self, or brain wars, or fear. It's all the same thing. The Page of Cups and Page of Wands are on his mind, and I was getting connection there. Not right there, but this also it could be children, but it also could be a message of love, and inspired here by the quickening, and that's when I got connection. He's got the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands, and they often come up as the twins, and they can be vice versa depending on which energy you're expressing. Of course, the Page of Cups is going to come up more feminine, and the Page of Wands more masculine, but it can represent both. But these are on his mind, so they can be our inner children, or it can be his own children, or he could even be thinking about his divine feminine's children. But there's a message of love, and he's feeling inspired by a quickening, and both of these children were upright. And then when I got quickening, I immediately got, who wants to live forever? Who wants to live forever? And I want to repeat, because I said this last time. This is from Highlander, but the tenors sing that song, and it'll give you chills. So you got to download that song from the tenors. It's not their song, but they sing it. It's unbelievable. I saw them live singing this. It just gives you chills. So the masculine does not want to be a bottom feeder. He does know this. He seeks the high land where it's dry and he can be young again. And this is very much the energy of the Highlander. The speed of lightning and an innocent heart. This is what he's craving. A redo of sorts, sorting out the details of separation from self, separation from source and others, to find his purpose, his mission, his dream. Is it the same one he's been working on all this time? If he must walk like an Egyptian, so be it. He's now noting Ben Franklin holding the Ankh to the stars, using himself as a grounding mechanism to fill his jar of light. And then jar of hearts was coming up. The hearts he has coveted in attempts to regain his own heart, not realizing and spirits connecting. Like Dorothy, all he had to do was go in and look up. The King of Wands rushes in to awakened one. The Knight of Wands rushes in to the awakened one, his twin, at the 11th hour. And as we turn the page, it's 9:59. And that's the 11th hour, 59 before the 60. So he rushes in as the Knight of Wands to his awakened one, his twin, at the 11th hour, running across that 40 bridge on a journey from the dark side of the moon, hiding from the false light, under the radar, now leaving Akashic records behind, along with the chemtrail. Okay, and the underlying signs that were coming up here, just as we get into these underlying energies, were Virgo upright, Sag upright, Aquarius upright, Aries not sure which direction, Gemini was reversed, Leo was upright, Pisces and Libra not sure which direction, but Cancer was also upright. This is just the underlying energies. So 4 cups of flowers, so you might want to get some flowers for your home, but 4 cups of flowers to plant to ground his union to the etheric realms. The goal is just the journey, the present, the gift of the moment before it passes. Awaken to his journey as the journeyman, aligning the sword that has protected his masculine side with his left hand to the moon, realizing now he doesn't need to align with anyone but himself, in a new passion to cry and to dump all that does not serve his heart. That his sexual energy had been trapped between the moon's control and feeling overwhelmed spiritually, trying to hold things up, giving energy to that which must fall in the release of the full moon. The lobster up in arms about what to do with his sexual energy, wishing those dogs howling would just shut up already. Like two headless horsemen, all illusion to intimidate such a simple man. So the people around him who have been controlling him all this time, and then such a simple man, won't you please tell me what to know? I know it sounds absurd, please tell me who I am. Okay, so this is the energy coming up from the masculine, of these people around him, and him being a very willing participator in allowing them to tell him what to do. But now this is changing. They were keeping him small so he could be controlled, using his Mary Magdalene to push down his emotions and hers, using arousal, sexual energy, as a dark weapon to entice them. Actually just practice for the twins to learn to harness and master their own third energy. It's only meant for between him and his twin, without third-party interference or siphoning. Well, and this can be karmic partners on either side, but it also can represent dark energies who may come in and try to siphon your energies as well. Okay, so you have to know who you're dealing with. That's why it's so important to keep your energy sacred between your union in the etheric realms and physically once you come together in union. And that's why it's so important not to be in relationships with other people, because not only now are you sharing your energy with those other karmics, but you're also now causing yourself to have to clear more energy that you've taken on from those other people. So know that it is sacred between you in the etheric realms and in physical union. But remember, the space between you is vast. When you are not physically together, it gives a lot of opportunity for dark energies to hop in, okay? So unrequited love comes in here, as well as keep an open mind beneath it. So keep an open mind about unrequited love. And who is the unrequited love have to do with? Okay? So does it have to do with a marriage you've been in for a long time, and to keep an open mind about unrequited love, that you don't have to stay committed to something forever if you've signed a piece of paper, a marriage license, that says you have to be miserable for the rest of your life? Keep an open mind. And if it's unrequited between you and your twin, is it really unrequited, or is this just the templates that you were raised in? Keep an open mind. Just what is today doesn't mean that's what is tomorrow. The Queen of Cups is loving and nurturing, and the X looks in the mirror and needs to be the center of attention. The Knight of Pentacles offers friendship, or something simple or practical, to end what's not working within family, to be the King of Pentacles, superhero, and now chase the girl of his dreams. The Queen of Cups' destiny of love, as the King of Pentacles and friend seek his match, the one who fits the glass slipper, not the many that try to make him believe they are the one, with rings on their ankles and bells on their toes, with fruit displays enticing him in, as well as wrist cuffs and stockings with garters, cannot sway him now, while matching knees. No longer the old Y, like the back of suspenders, matching to toggle or anchor that of the garter belt. This was the old 3D templating of madmen. They were mad men. Then 1024 comes up here. 24 is that Queen of Wands, and funny, she comes up with madmen, because 24, the Queen of Wands, comes up many times as the karmic energy. And then I go on to look up madman, because I couldn't think of the name, and the news headline came up was, all I saw was a bunch of flames. So karmic completion comes up here as number 10, a turn for the better, that high vibration in karmic completion. Underneath that was domestic harmony. So once both the feminine and masculine were able to get their karmic worlds in order, then karmic completion can come through. Because there needs to be balance. Jupiter Sagittarius to reap rewards. Check out your sign as to which cups to fill. As example, for me, I'm Virgo, so with Sagittarius and Jupiter, it affects home. So maybe moving or redoing my home this year, that kind of energy. So check out yours just for fun, if anything. But expand, travel, learn, write, and communicate internationally under Jupiter Sagittarius. Don't forget, we just went retrograde, and then Saturn and Pluto will also be going retrograde, and you may be feeling held back depending on those positions at your time of birth. There are all these big planets now going retrograde. So the big things in your life may be stalled, whereas then there's a focus on the little things in your life, the back and forth, the friends, the everyday stuff, okay? And then at 10:41, a loud thunder clap came in, so it started raining all of a sudden. And then not expressing feelings here comes up, or delayed back and forth with this Jupiter retrograde, reaping to rise above. So it's time to stop and stop trying to push forward, taking what you just experienced the last few months to reap your rewards now and be more still, to rise above and stay where you are as the wise hermit. And some of you may want to complain about that say, well, I have been that way, I have been the hermit. But it's, if you have, and you're being called to go back to being hermit again, it's because we're still learning patience. Allow lack of sleep, or allow that lack of sleep to fuel or inspire you. It actually helps you out of your head when you can't think, and make sure to ground well if hanging out etherically on castle tops looking for more light. It may be a bit dim at this time, so you may be struggling to connect like you usually do. You may not be able to connect in the same way that you usually do. So there's definitely some dark energy kind of hovering. As we've been in shadow now of Jupiter retrograde, and now in retrograde, in order to see the good that we've experienced or had this past few months. Time to climb out of Mr. Robinson's neighborhood to the upper bunk on a bunk bed. So hang out with kids. So it's time to let the lack be gone, okay? Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a man living in a box. A very funny man, Eddie Murphy. It's time to climb out of that lack mentality. But it's saying, hang out with some kids on an upper bunk of a bunk bed, or with your kids to elevate your vibration, because they're always inspiring. They're young at heart. Use DNA ladder to count sheep on a farm, possibly in a tree house. Take a basket to collect fruit in an apple or orange grove. Take in the sights, the mountains, or fresh spring air. Don't worry if sleeping in a foreign bed, that your truth will be out of reach. No matter where you are, just go within. It's always within your reach, and Spirit's connecting. Quasimodo and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that was a Victor Hugo novel of 1831, so here are the 31s coming up again, of expansion, conflict, competition and the information from that's from en.m.wikipedia.org. In 2010, a British researcher found evidence suggesting there was a real hunchback stone carver, and Spirit's connecting with me, who worked Notre Dame during the same period he wrote the novel, and they may have even known each other. And I also made note that Jupiter and Sag is from November 8th, 2018, and goes into Capricorn, I guess, at December 2nd, 2019, which is now retrograde. I think it's till August. I'm not sure which day. So with Quasimodo, you know, he was the hunchback of Notre Dame. He also had a giant wart covering his left eye. Abandoned there by false mother after family, who were gypsies, switched them at birth and took somebody else's little girl. The Archdeacon Frollo adopts him at Notre Dame. The next day, after Quasimodo Sunday, so the second Sunday of Easter is now known as Quasimodo Sunday, and that would be then 4/28 this year, and today's the 26th. So Sunday, it does fall on a Sunday, the 28th, which is the 28 of the two wands or the twin flames. So you might want to take note of what happens on Sunday. The bell ringer becomes deaf, right? So not only did he have to go through everything he was born with, but he gets dropped off, and now he's a bell ringer for Notre Dame, lovingly taken in by the archdeacon there, Frollo, but he's now a bell ringer, which causes him to be deaf and learn sign language. So at 11:07, and Spirit's connecting with me very strongly, there's an important message here, so please continue listening. At 10:07, I researched Notre Dame and what had been going on, because I haven't been paying attention to the news. So although I knew about the fire, I haven't been paying attention to the details at all. I didn't even know that people were taking all these pictures about Jesus in the fire. So I looked this up and researched Notre Dame, and there are fire pictures of Jesus, so people seeing Jesus in the fire, which for us makes sense because we see those kind of things every day and everywhere. So the day of the fire was April 15th, 2019, which adds up to no other than 31. All right, so the book was written in 1831, and here we have the fire of Quasimodo on April 15th, 2019. And what did I say that day is? That is tax day. Okay, time to pay the piper. Debts are paid. The tax collector's here, collecting your debts. So it started around 6:30 on that Monday, and was under control by 3:40, and it said that it was completely done by mid-morning the next day. And you notice this between the 15th and the 16th, which is the devil and the tower energies, right? The most harsh energies in the deck. So you see where this is going. There's a message about Quasimodo and the fire. And it all started from the Hermit card in the one deck stands on top of the tower. And it's making me want to cry here. So at 11:11, I was guided to a YouTube because I was looking at the pictures of Jesus that people had taken. And the one opened up a YouTube of just this still picture while playing to I Can Only Imagine. Okay? So the Notre Dame was built for him and Mother Mary in a tribute to his mother Mary. And the statue of them that was there at Notre Dame was moved to Notre Dame in 1818. Okay, so 2 moons. And also there was a note about the beehives that were kept on the roof. The beehives were still there because they said the European bees never leave their hives. And they were still alive on the roof after this fire. At 11:22, I wrote, Jesus made an appearance in honor of Quasimodo. It is he, the unseen, the forgotten, that require the attention now. How quickly people are to throw money to rebuild a structure, a worthy symbol of those who built it, as opposed to me and my mother. So this is Jesus coming through, okay? This is why I'm crying. Of course, it is positive to use your creative talents to restore such beauty in order to touch souls, because of course it's worthwhile rebuilding it and making it beautiful again, because it does touch so many souls on such a deep level, just the beauty of it. However, restoration of the spirit is what grounds all creation, as within, so without. The beauty, and spirit's still connecting, Jesus, the beauty of Quasimodo's heart is reflected in the beauty of this church. Ask most what the church reminds them of, and they will remember the hunchback of Notre Dame. As within, so without. I chose my fate. I did not die for you. I lived for you, to show you what was possible. But when I was my authentic self, you feared the unknown. You, as a collective consciousness, are who chose to put me on the cross, myself included. You feared what your mind could not comprehend. Exciting at first, of course, like a new relationship. But when the ramifications started to seep in of how this world, or how this would affect each of your lives, instead of opening your hearts more, fear shut them down. 2,000 years of the feminine pushed down. Beautiful buildings to store the energy of the hidden feminine. This marks her rise in the rebalancing, the reordering of our universe. Not only the rise within women, but the rise in all beings. And he's still connecting with me. Okay, so this was a very important message. Recently, a star is born, and birds, after this thunderstorm that had just come in, I told you there was a clap of lightning, I'm now writing recently as the birds are chirping outside. It was 11:40, and 40 is the number of Jesus, who was just talking to you. Recently, it's the Page of Cups. A star is born. Quasimodo becomes sovereign as he sheds light on Judgment Day. He announces to the masculines and their inner children the welcoming of their inner feminine. Because here was Quasimodo, this big masculine beast with this soft heart, this feminine heart, which is what everyone really needed. As we turn the page, it's 11:41. And the birds chirped all during 41, and then they just stopped very gently. And 41 is the Ace of Cups, of self-love, spiritual love, of new love, of loving each other. Placing to Ankh, placing the Ankh to the stars to find a peaceful place and speak our feminine truth about it. The signs that came up for the body of the read were all of the signs except Aquarius. Aquarius was in the underlying energy, but really wasn't presented in the body of the read. It doesn't mean an Aquarius person isn't represented here. It could just be their other energies coming out more than their Aquarian. But we have Aries came up as up and down. If you're expressing the Emperor of the Aries, you're down. If you're expressing the Fool with an open heart, taking a leap of faith, Aries, you're up. As same for the Taurus. Taurus was both ways. If you're the Emperor, if you were the Emperor was up and down though as well. The Hierophant was down though. So if you're expressing the energy of the religious leader, that Hierophant, that energy was down. Virgo was up, Libra was up, Gemini down, Cancer up, Pisces down, Capricorn down, Sagittarius down, Leo down, Scorpio up. Okay, so getting into the foundation here, taking the steps to heaven on earth. Let me pull the cards for you. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So the underlying energy that had started the read, I told you about already, was the Three of Orbs, or the Three of Swords, and behind it was the Emperor, or Reason in this deck, the Syrian Starseed deck. So as we went into the recent past, we had the Star. So obviously this is very different than a normal deck. Okay, and you see you have the Ankh here. As we get into the foundation, which we are at present, we have the Seven of Chalices here, taking the 7 steps. All right, this is ascending to heaven on earth. Dumping emotions and people that no longer serve you, with love, of course, to free prisons of jealousy and insincerity, which just is not offering love. To walk away from unrequited love, because you always deserve love. So centrally here is the abundance for everyone. Okay? So this is the Empress. So the feminine energy is coming up as very open-hearted, and the masculine hiding But the focus today is still about the feminine within both the masculine and feminine, because the Queen of Pentacles, the challenge card, that's ungrounded. So centrally is abundance, the Empress, the divine feminine with open heart. The Magician. Oh, that's what I wanted to bring up. With Taurus, I'm sorry about that. The Empress Taurus energy is upright. The Hierophant Taurus energy was reversed. The Magician, the creator, without the Emperor's ego, in disconnect. The daughter of the Emperor and the Empress may be the Queen of Wands, but the daughter of the Empress and the Emperor, after letting go of his ego, or the Emperor reverse, because that's not always such a bad thing, is Queen of Pentacles. This is what the message was being given to me. This is the challenge of the 3D to the 5D connection to truth. Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles is where you want to be, because Pentacles is the last suit of the journey, but it's getting from the Queen of Wands, right? So if you have an Emperor and Empress, obviously their daughter is going to be, what is the word I wanted to use? Privileged. She's coming up as that Queen of Wands karmic, who's been giving everything she wants. She gets to wear pretty clothes and, you know, do whatever she wants and date, and everybody wants her. This is the energy of that Queen of Wands. However, the Empress with the abundance and open heart, along with the Emperor who has let go of his ego, because most emperors have ego, the one who has let go of his negative ego, they would then birth the Queen of Pentacles, because they would not allow their daughter to disrespect herself that way, because that's not loving herself first. So this is the message I was getting here. And it's not to judge anyone and how they are. Everyone's going through their journey for a reason, to grow. But it's just for the purpose of the twins and this reading today to express the difference here in ego and not ego. So we're never totally out of ego. We have ego to keep us safe in our bodies in this 3D world. But you understand the point of that. So the daughter of the Emperor and Empress being the Queen of Wands, but once the Emperor lets go of his ego, then his daughter becomes the Queen of Pentacles. This is the challenge of the 3D to 5D connection to get to the truth. The challenge being the Queen of Pentacles, because of her destiny with the King of Swords, is a powerful connection, boldly moving forward as her Queen of Swords speaks to him. So you see this dynamic where you have, all right, now we're being told that the Queen of Pentacles is coming together with the King of Swords, but they're not the same suit. So why is that? Well, now it brings in the part of the divine feminine that's the Queen of Swords, the one who speaks her truth, because it's more harsh energy. There's not enough love behind it. But she needs to match with the King of Swords in order for them both to rise to the Pentacles. So the challenge being the Queen of Pentacles, because of her destiny with the King of Swords, is a powerful connection, boldly moving forward as her Queen of Swords speaks to him. He gets the Queen of Swords, maybe he doesn't get the Queen of Pentacles until he comes into his King of Pentacles. The feminine, her father's daughter, so she is her father's daughter, who lived in his shadow until now. In separation from the Emperor, she dreamed alone, learning the steps to abundance. The Empress with an open heart to union, to fantasy, to that 10 of Pentacles ultimate family. The 5D heaven on earth, in her sexual connection, reunion with her true love, and her higher self, angel, when she communicates to others, sharing, teaching, and learning. Now crowning the energies here is that 4 of Wands. And everyone feels that's the union energy. How fitting for the crown that was recently saved, the one we've all been trying to remove from our brains, the thorns blocking our ascension. So as we're trying to break through the crown out in the 3D world, they're talking about the crown of thorns that was saved from Notre Dame. saving the symbol of what we as a twin collective are trying to now get rid of and get it out of our brain. The thorns blocking our ascension. You are the union. Two flames flanked by heavenly guards. The King of Wands reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed are coming up as unhappy together. And this specifically can be a Gemini Queen of Swords reversed, who can be very harsh with their words. This obviously is a karmic connection here with the King of Wands, who could have a physical temper or just be pissed or exhausted, as the Queen of Wands reversed Gemini energy is not, if the connection's not working, the no affection between them is not working. And the King of Pentacles reversed, it could also represent just the unhappiness of a feminine and a masculine, not in their energies that resonate with each other, but both very unhappy, not together. So, with no affection not working in any karmic connection still together, and the King of Pentacles reversed, now grieving his losses, and Queen of Swords reversed Gemini acts like a man when she's pissed off. So she could be coming up as the King of Wands reversed. Okay, so this definitely could be a karmic energy who controls controls things at home, whereas the King of Pentacles controls things at business. So maybe he's comfortable being King of Wands at business, that's his business persona or work persona, but comes off more as King of Wands or King of Swords at home. But she's coming off as the Queen of Swords reversed with the King of Wands reversed. You know, very negative energy. That's bad temper tantrums and verbal abuse. So two masculines together, that doesn't work. Not in a relationship, but now, even at the workplace, it is no longer working as a partnership. There is no love or affection here. The Empress has been right there, offering her abundance, yet the Divine Masculine was choosing to be out in the cold, injured and abandoned by friends, family, work, and or a group. The Emperor hiding his true dreams behind heartbreak, separation, even possibly heart issues. He avoided addressing. So as we turn the page, it's 12:01. Okay, so now we're in the PM, the time of the masculine, as we get into the afternoon time, right? But there's not much sun here today. There is rest and relaxation and peace for the fool who opens their heart and leaps, surrendering to faith, to trust, in a two-world split, ascending to great love, unlike any that exists. Third energy reunion without using his penis, after feeling castrated in what seemed to be a narcissistic template between the devil and angel. And when I went to write angel, it wrote angle. All right, so the devil's angle. So what seemed to be a narcissistic template between the devil and the angel, or the angle of the devil, sharing in union without the home and control of the false empress with 3D snake beside her. So not the kundalini, but the actual, probably masculine energy or feminine energy older than her that is backing up her bad behavior. So the twins learn to tame their kundalini rising, ending cycles of bleeding out pain and suffering for the collective karmic feminine. Soon is the starseed. A huge download hits. Over loss and regret, feeling into the uncomfortable emotions of impatience to move forward to a fresh start without the Queen of Swords reversed, fallen angel, working on aligning more truth, more with truth of prison and anxiety releasing. When impatience released, the feminine can then walk away and within in every moment as a big download comes in to plant seeds for spring. Okay? So this is just saying impatience is a big obstacle, whether you're a divine feminine or the karmic feminine. It doesn't really matter, because impatience is impatience. It was just 4444, mastering impatience, is a big deal right here with the Divine Feminine, the Queen of Pentacles, being reversed. So both, when in their impatience, can be the Queen of Swords reversed, the feminine and the karmic. It's your impatience that needs to correct in order to bring you upright, to move more into your Queen of Pentacles upright. So impatience was the speed bump, blocking the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords because they are swords. The King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles, they lose their impatience to master this world. You can't get to the Pentacles without mastering impatience, because impatience has to do with your thoughts. And that's the man of logic, the woman of logic, the queen, the king and queen of swords. So you can't get to the mastering of the Pentacles until you learn impatience and how to tame your impatience. The collective is listening, or the collective here listening for this video, so anyone who might come in and listen, is seeing themselves as the Ten of Cups. And this is beautiful, that we're a family, that we're a loving family. The collective listening is the Ten of Cups in a bold move to be family, to rise and be love, the 7 steps to heaven, but drained by current energies and breaks in contracts, vows, promises, marriages, to expand spirituality outside the box, the 4 walls of 3D templating. You deserve love, romantic feelings, and passion all come up for all of you from Romance Angels. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Around us, or how we are seen, is the diamond in the rough. Now, new life breaking through. Oh, that was the old one. So the Ace of Crystals, okay, which is the Ace of Pentacles. The diamond in the rough, new life breaking through the mountains with diamond light. Perhaps a little tough, but not rough. You are just perfect, just as you are. Detoxing by letting go of the battle of the wounds. Union with self, in need of attention now. Okay, so we may have been getting tired of doing so much work, and people are disconnecting, not doing as much meditation as they usually do, not coming back to self. And so Spirit, Jesus, God, they're all calling us back to us being in need of attention from ourselves, just like I went into my little girl again this morning. So after this detoxing by letting go of the battle of the wounds, union with self in need of attention from self to your higher connection. Even if there's not much you can do as far as astro travel, if you're not going where you normally go, you still need to do that connection, all right, to stay centered with self. Union with self in need of attention. The King of Pentacles, masters of manifestation, of dreams. They are the dream weavers. Clear blocks of working with crystal energy. You can't master crystal energy if you have a block about it. Clear blocks of working with crystals and crystal energy, with epiphanies, sudden events, and sudden energies coming in. If you have a block about your ascension, period, you know, that's a block in itself. As we turn the page, it's 1226. So here we are again at the Page of Wands, 26. So the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands both came up in the times at the top of the page. It's time to plan. And the weather had calmed now. It's time to plan, implement, strategize. There's only one option. Align with truth, crack codes of your family legacy. All right, so as we get to the end of the read, the challenge here is any blocks about working with crystal. Okay, this is the working on the details of aligning and cracking codes, your new life of how you work, your mission work. There is only that one option, to align with truth, to crack codes of your family legacy, and that's really your mission. Your mission is to stay connected to higher self. Every 3 to 6 months, you're getting downloads. You know your abilities are upgrading every time period. You feel it. So if you have any blocks about that, you're just blocking yourself from going forward. It's just to trust and have faith that your new abilities will come forward when you're ready. So Patience and leadership and love partnership, like I told you in the beginning, were there, but even more so right now, it's so important for you to have physical activity. The last two cards that came out here for the solution of the message here has to do with doing shadow work, walking away and going within, and this can definitely represent Batman too, leaving the bat cave to get physical, taking a walk, going to the beach or whatever it is, to go walk away, to go within, to do your shadow work. Very important right now, especially in these retrogrades, okay? So for the new life, put yourself out there. Put your butt on the line. Get off to the, what did I write? It looked like roof, but it's pot. I wrote get off the pot. But it also wanted me to see the root, because the roof, it's the root and the roof. So it's supposed to say get off the pot, but it also says root and roof. It says root because we want to get off the root chakra issues, because that's all about safety and security. And if you're in your higher energy, you need not worry about that, because your love high vibration is all the protection that you need, along with nature. We also bring up the roof because I'm bringing up Quasimodo here, the card that brought him up. I'm going to show you that card. This is the Hermit card that brought that up, because you see him standing on the tower, okay? The top of the tower. So do your shadow work with the evil Empress and controller, the one in charge at home who freaks out if the slightest thing is out of place, and we all know them. Ulcers and stress and living up to families' and parents' expectations. You need to do shadow work now on the closest of your lineage. The mother of all wounds, the mother who is heavy-handed. Also the King of Cups, offering love when receives nothing in return, allowing himself to be used, abused, and neglected, not loving themselves first, okay? And so this is very important, and using me as an example, because my parents are exactly this. My mother had a really bad temper, and my father just worked a lot, so he didn't have to deal with it. But he did deal with it, you know, even when they were in the Alzheimer's facility, when they were still in independent living, because my father was in a wheelchair. When her Alzheimer's started getting worse, they went into independent living within a facility where they could switch wings. But while they were in independent living, he was grounded to a wheelchair and couldn't speak from his dysphagia, although he's fully functioning mind-wise. She would throw things at him. And that wasn't new to her. Even though the Alzheimer's was there, she threw things at us our whole life. It wasn't because of the Alzheimer's, but because of the Alzheimer's, she was now, you know, potentially hurting an innocent victim, because my father was in a wheelchair. Even though they had AIDS there, you know, they don't know that my mom's all of a sudden going to throw a bowl at my dad. So fortunately, my dad was never hurt by my mother in that respect. But this was not something new. It's something we grew up with, you know. My mother threw plates, and she's, yeah, chased my brother around the backyard with a broom. And not to saying she wasn't a loving mother, because she was, but she had a lot of shadow in her as well. And it was all about her own issues that she hadn't dealt with, and not loving herself first. She felt abandoned. Her parents were very much intellectuals, so they weren't loving with her, you know. They were as best they could, but they were very intellectually minded, they weren't huggy, kissy parents, you know. And so she craved that. And my father wasn't either. He was very European, so he wasn't a huggy, kissy parent, although very loving. My mother was just starved for that. So she was still working out her little girl while she was mothering us, you know, which made it a big struggle for us. But this is the mother and father that they're bringing up here, the template of the wife who controls everything that happens in the house, and then the husband who's very loving and sweet. And that's not to say that they haven't had a bad temper too, but in general, they're the loving, sweet provider who stays out of the house, so he doesn't have to deal with it, but leaves the children at home to deal with that abuse. the mother of all wounds, the mother heavy-handed, also the King of Cups, Father, offering love when receiving nothing in return. And it's not to say they have nothing between them. Of course there's love between them, but he's not loving himself first if he's allowing himself to be abused. Allowing himself to be used, abused, and neglected. And that's why a lot of them stayed out of the house and were workaholics, not loving themselves first. That is not the divine masculine. He is gentle and kind, but also knows his worth and does not put up with being walked on. Within shadow work, walk away and within. Messages light and small regarding pain and betrayals and verbal abuse. Hold your tongue. You are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are love always, in your authenticity, as long as you are loving yourself. Not expressing feelings or physical exchange may be delayed, holding back new life, as the gold coin for the Queen of Pentacles, needing to be grounded in both twins, as well as a need to be the student, to allow opportunities to cry if needed. All right, so again, student of the purge or the shadow work is coming up here. To allow yourself to purge, to complete the transformation. So the Emperor in separation and or healing, to take steps to happy family, new life of dreams and healing and abundance, with open heart wide, challenged by the Queen of Pentacles, fresh start, grounding and working to align and crack codes for union and do shadow work within. The Emperor epiphanies of shining light and dreams, taking steps towards the Empress and union, grounding both of their inner Queen of Pentacles reversed. Happy family with fresh start, with downloads and leaps of faith to break ground. To break ground with diamond light. To work with crystal energy and shadow work, walking away and within from that which no longer serves. Transform. Okay, so it's saying you guys are there. You just have to allow the transformation, and you have to get your Queen of Pentacles grounded. Okay, so we need to ground, especially in these types of energies, which you've all been feeling the discomfort of it. All right, it's getting long, so I'll do the oracles separately, but I'm going to show you your pictures. It's at 57 now. Okay, so this is the basic read. Am I showing you the right one? Yep. And then here is the complete read here. Okay. I don't think there's any other pictures that came out in the read. No, that was it. Okay. You know what to do. Let me know what you think about the new format of the read. Drink your water. Get your rest. And don't be hard on yourself. Rise and be loved.